Hello everyone, welcome to a new video of your Polyglot Academy. Now today, I'm going to continue the series on how to learn German up to a B1 level with 1,000 words. And we're going to cover lesson number 9, so basically the words from number 801 to 900. And in this lesson, I'm also going to cover some pretty difficult words that may be relevant only for a B1 or B2 level, even for C1. Nevertheless, I still decided to put them in this lesson because the most basic words were already covered in the last lesson, so with these last two lessons, you may be able to kind of, broaden your horizons and get some advanced vocabulary. So let's start. If you're ready, let's go. First word is beantragen, which means to apply for. Sie beantragt ein Visum. She applies for a visa. Behalten means to keep. Du kannst das Buch behalten. You can keep the book. Now we have beziehen, which means to obtain or to relate to. Bezieht Informationen aus dem Internet. He obtains information from the internet. Next up, we have einreichen, which means to submit. Reiche den Bericht bis Freitag ein. Submit the report by Friday. Now we have einrichten, which means to set up or to furnish, which is not the same as einreichen. Wir richten die Wohnung gemütlich ein. We furnish the flat cozily. Next up, we have ermöglichen, a very important and useful word, which means to enable or to make possible. Das Projekt ermöglicht neue Jobs. The project enables new jobs. Next up, erstatten, which means to refund or to report. Die Firma erstattet die Kosten. The company refunds the costs. Now we have erzielen, which means to achieve or to obtain. Erziele ein besseres Ergebnis. Achieve a better result. Feststellen is the next word, which means to determine or to notice. Der Arzt stellte die Diagnose fest. The doctor determined the diagnosis. Next up, die Zugabe, which means the encore or extra. Die Band gab 2 Zugaben. The band gave 2 encores. Now we have die Zahlungsart, which means payment method. Welche Zahlungsart bevorzugen Sie? Which payment method do you prefer? Now we have riskieren, which means to risk. Willst du das wirklich riskieren? Do you really want to risk that? Die Beurteilung, which means assessment or review. Die Beurteilung war kritisch. The assessment was critical. Now we have die Ausnahme, which means exception. Das ist eine Ausnahme von der Regel. That is an exception to the rule. Now we have reagieren, which means to react. Reagier schnell auf die E-Mail. React quickly to the email. Reservieren is the next word, which means to reserve. Ich reserviere einen Tisch im Restaurant. I reserve a table at the restaurant. Next up, verteilen, which means to distribute. Wir verteilen Flyer in der Stadt. We distribute flyers in the city. Traurig, which means sad. Warum ist er so traurig? Why is he so sad? Now we have virtuell, which means virtual. Wir treffen uns in einer virtuellen Runde. We meet in a virtual session. Now we have vertiefen, which means to deepen. Wir vertiefen unser Wissen im Kurs. We deepen our knowledge in the course. Now we have die Verhandlung, which means negotiation. Die Verhandlung war erfolgreich. The negotiation was successful. Der Zeitraum, which means period or time frame. Der Zeitraum beträgt 3 Monate. The period is 3 months. Zusammenfassen, which basically means to summarize. Fasse die wichtigsten Punkte zusammen. Summarize the main points. Teilbar means divisible. Die Zahl ist durch 3 teilbar. The number is divisible by 3. Die Zielgruppe means target group. Die Zielgruppe sind Jugendliche. The target group is youths. Now we have vielseitig, which means versatile. Sie ist sehr vielseitig talentiert. She is very versatile. Now we have der Einfluss, which means influence. Der Einfluss der Medien ist groß. The influence of media is great. Next up, informieren, which means to inform. Bitte informieren Sie mich über Änderungen. Please inform me about changes. Now we have die Zwischenzeit, which means meantime. In der Zwischenzeit kannst du üben. Meanwhile, you can practice. Die Zuständigkeit, which means jurisdiction or responsibility. Das fällt in die Zuständigkeit der Behörde. That falls within the authority's jurisdiction. Now we got planen, which means to plan. Wir planen eine Reise. We plan a trip. Der Mut, which means courage. Nicht jeder Mann hat Mut. Not every man has courage. Now we got hervorheben, which means to highlight. Er hob den wichtigsten Punkt hervor. He highlighted the main point. Next up, vorschreiben, which means to prescribe or to dictate. Here's an example. Das Gesetz schreibt Schutzmaßnahmen vor. The law prescribes safety measures. Now we got kommentieren, which means to comment. Kannst du das bitte kommentieren? Can you comment on that? Bitter, which means bitter. Die Niederlage war sehr bitter. The loss was very bitter. Now we got veraltet, which means outdated. Die Software ist veraltet. The software is outdated. Die Abgabe, which means submission or fee. Die Abgabe ist bis Ende des Monats fällig. The submission or the fee is due by the end of the month. Now we have zielgerichtet, which means targeted or purposeful. Die Maßnahmen sind zielgerichtet. The measures are targeted. Now we have vorherrschend, which means prevailing, and this is a little bit difficult word. Die vorherrschende Meinung ist positiv. The prevailing opinion is positive. Die Errungenschaft, which means achievement. Die Errungenschaften der Forschung sind bemerkenswert. The achievements of research are remarkable, and this is also probably a B2 or C1 word. Bequem means comfortable. Diese Kissen sind sehr bequem. These pillows are very comfortable. Now we have vorbereiten, which means to prepare. Ich bereite das Meeting vor. I prepare the meeting. Now we have nachweisen, which means to prove or to demonstrate. Kannst du das nachweisen? Can you prove that? Wertvoll means valuable. Gold ist zweifelsohne wertvoll. Gold is undoubtedly valuable. Next up, die Bestimmung, which means regulation or determination. Die Bestimmung ist im Vertrag festgelegt. The regulation is set in the contract. Now we have die Grundlage, which means basis or foundation. Das ist die Grundlage unserer Arbeit. That is the basis of our work. Now we have konzentrieren, which means to concentrate. Konzentrier dich auf die Aufgabe. Concentrate on the task. Eng means narrow. Die Straße links ist eng. The street on the left is narrow. Next up, word 850, zurückhalten, which means to hold back. Halte deine Emotionen zurück. Hold back your emotions. Umwandeln is the next word, which means to convert or to transform. Wir wandeln die Datei ins PDF-Format um. We convert the file to PDF. Now we have organisieren, which means to organize. Wir organisieren eine Veranstaltung. We organize an event. Now we have der Antrag, which means application. Der Antrag wurde genehmigt. The application was approved. Die Erlaubnis means permission. Ohne Erlaubnis darfst du das nicht tun. You may not do that without permission. Following on, zustellen, which means to deliver mail. Der Brief wurde zugestellt. The letter was delivered. Now we have zeitaufwendig, which means time consuming. Die Prüfung ist sehr zeitaufwendig. The test is very time consuming. Now we have ernst, which means serious. Warum guckt er so ernst an? Why is he looking so serious? Now we have fördern, which means to promote or to support, and here's an example. Das Programm fördert junge Künstler. The program supports young artists. Next up, untermauert, which means substantiated. Die These ist gut untermauert. The thesis is well substantiated. Sonnig, which means sunny, is the next word. Sonniges Wetter ist schön, oder? Sunny weather is nice, right? Die Priorität means priority. Sicherheit hat höchste Priorität. Safety has top priority. Next up, langweilig, which means boring. Here's an example. Dieses Buch ist so verdammt langweilig. This book is so damn boring. Continuing on, we have präsentieren, which means to present. Er präsentiert seine Ergebnisse. He presents his results. Zulegen means to gain or to add. Ich habe mir ein neues Fahrrad zugelegt. I bought myself a new bike. Next up, die Nutzung, which means usage or utilization. Die Nutzung der App ist kostenlos. The use of the app is free. Die Aussicht means view or prospect. Die Aussicht vom Berg ist fantastisch. The view from the mountain is fantastic. Next up, der Zugang, which means access. Der Zugang ist durch ein Passwort geschützt. Access is protected by a password. Now we have konstruieren, which means to construct. Sie konstruieren eine Brücke. They construct a bridge. Spenden, which means to donate. Viele spenden für gute Zwecke. Many donate for good causes. Now we have verantwortungsbewusst, which means responsible. Ist sehr verantwortungsbewusst. He is very responsible. Die Haftung means liability. Wer trägt die Haftung? Who bears the liability? Now we have das Bedürfnis, which means need. Jeder Mensch hat Bedürfnisse. Every person has needs. Now we have der Anreiz, which means incentive. Ein Bonus ist ein Anreiz für Leistung. A bonus is an incentive for performance. Now you have die Bemerkung, which means remark or comment. Seine Bemerkung war unpassend. His remark was inappropriate. Now we have sehenswert, which means worth seeing. Das Museum ist wirklich sehenswert. The museum is really worth seeing. Next up, unvoreingenommen, also a very difficult word, which means unbiased. Bleib bitte unvoreingenommen. Please remain unbiased. Die Verzögerung means delay is the next word. Wegen der Verzögerung kam das Paket spät an. Because of the delay, the package arrived late. Now we have das Anliegen, which means concern or request. Ihr Anliegen wird so schnell wie möglich bearbeitet. Your concern will be processed as soon as possible, ASAP. Now we have bezahlen, which means to pay. Ich würde gern mit Karte bezahlen. I would like to pay by card. Now word 880, verzweifelt, which means desperate. Diese Situation sieht verzweifelt aus. This situation looks desperate. Following on, die Voraussetzung, which means prerequisite. Eine Voraussetzung ist gute Deutschkenntnis. A prerequisite is good German skills. Now we have zeitnah, which means timely. Wir sollten zeitnah antworten. We should reply promptly or timely. Der Schutz means protection from the verb schützen, to protect. Der Schutz ist gewährleistet. Protection is guaranteed. Now we have versorgen, which means to supply or to care for. In this case, die Klinik versorgt die Patienten. The clinic cares for the patients. Now we have schlagkräftig, which means powerful or effective. Die Argumente waren schlagkräftig. The arguments were powerful. Following on, we have kooperieren, which means to cooperate. Die Firmen kooperieren international. The companies cooperate internationally. Behaupten, which means to claim, is the next expression. Ich behaupte, dass du schuldig bist. I claim that you're guilty. Now we have die Infrastruktur, which means infrastructure. Die Infrastruktur muss verbessert werden. The infrastructure must be improved. Now we have chillen, which means to relax or to chill. Ich möchte heute etwas in dem Park chillen. I'd like to relax or to chill in the park for a bit today. Next up, saufen, which is a German expression to say to get drunk or to drink a lot. Saufen wir zu viel? Do we drink too much? Zusammensetzen means to assemble. Wir setzen das Modell zusammen. We assemble the model. Next up, we have die Provision, which means commission. Die Provision beträgt 5%. The commission is 5%. Now we have investieren, which means to invest. Er investiert in Aktien. He invests in stocks. Now we have die Perspektive, which means perspective. Aus dieser Perspektive sieht das besser aus. From this perspective, it looks better. Next up we have vorübergehend, which means temporary. Die Sperre ist vorübergehend. The suspension is temporary. Now we have die Belastung, which means burden or stress. And here's an example. Die Belastung ist für viele groß. The burden is high for many. Next up we have zwingen, which means to force or to compel. Niemand kann dich zwingen. No one can force you. Now we have die Produktion, which means production. Die Produktion läuft rund um die Uhr. Production runs around the clock. Mix up, systematisch means systematic. Use an example. Wir arbeiten systematisch vor. We proceed or we work systematically. And now finally, the last word for today, nennen, which means to name or to call. Nenn mir 3 Gründe. Name 3 reasons. So that was it for today. These were the 100 words from lesson number 9. If you have any questions or any wishes, then feel free to express them in the comment section. And other than that, I will probably post the last lesson in about 2 days. And if you have any wishes about some possible new series that I may make, then just feel free to write these wishes in the comment section or to just write me an email privately. And as always, thanks for watching, have a nice day, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.